Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya
Jaya
Radha
Radha
Madhava
Madhava
Jaya
Jaya Kunja
Kunja
Bihari
Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya
Jai
Gopi
Gopi
Jana Vallabha
Janavallabha
Jaya
Jaya
Girivaradari
Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Brajana Randana
Yashodanandana
Brajana
Vrajanaranjana
Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajanaranjana
Yamuna Tira
Yamunatira Vanachari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare
Rama
Hare
Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama Rama
Rama
Rama
Rama
Hare
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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama 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 Hare
Rama.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Hare
Rama.
Hare
Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai,
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Gauranitai Jaya,
Gauranitai
Gauranitai Jaya,
Jaya Gauranitai
Gauranitai.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya.
Jaya
Prabhupada,
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 Prabhupada, Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Shri
Srila
Prabhu.
Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya
Jaya Gurudeva,
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 Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Gurudeva.
Nitya Gaura
Hari Bol.
Haribol, Haribol, Nitya Gaura Haribol,
Nitya
Nitai
Gaura
Gaura Hari
Haribo,
Bol.
Haribo,
Haribol,
Haribo, Nitya Gaura Haribo.
Hari Bol.
Shri Shri Gauranitai ki
Jai,
jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai
Jai,
Nitai Gaura Premanande,
Hari
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 Bol.
Om.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope that's coming through, okay, right?
I think you have to click on it one more time, Prabhuji.
No, I think it came through.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, Chapter number 5, text number 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo
Namaste
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrutyam
Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskrityam
Namaskritam.
Naram Jaiva Narottamam
Naram
Naram
Jaiva
Jaiva
Narottamam
Narottamam.
Namaskritam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devi
Devim
Saraswati
Saraswatim
Vyasam
Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato
Tato
Jayamudiraye
Jayamudire.
Nasta Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavata
Bhagavata
Sevaya.
Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttamasloke
Bhagavati
Bhagavati
Uttamaśloke
Uttamasloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhaktir
Bhakti
Bhaktir
Bhavati
Naistiki.
Namaste.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya
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 Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Devaki Nandanaya cha
Devaki
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 Nandanaya
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 cha.
cha.
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Nandagopakumaraya
Nandagopakumaraya.
Nandagoparaya.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya
Govindaya
Namo
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 Namaha.
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 So today's verse is a quite big one. So let us see how it goes. Yeah, if anyone would like to recite, that's more than welcome. Otherwise, we can move on to the next part also after I recite the verse. Sri Sukha Uvacha
Sri Sukha Uvacha.
Evam Anusyasyamatmajan Swayam
Evam
Evam
Anusasyam
anusasyam
Swayam.
swayam.
Anusistan Api
Anushishtanapi
Anusistanapi.
Lokanusasanardam Mahanubhavaha
Loka
Lokanushasanam
anusasanardam
Mahanubhava
Mahanubhava.
mahanubhava.
Paramasohrud Bhagavan Rushabhadesha
Paramasudh
Paramasudha
Paramasudh
Bhagavan
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 Rishabhadesha
Rishabhadesha.
Rishabhadesha.
Upasamaseelanam Uparata Karmananam
Upasamasilanam
Upasasilanam
Upasamasinam
Uparatanam
uparata
Upakarana
karmananam.
Karmanam.
Mahamuninam Bhakti Gnana Vairagya Lakshanam
Mahamuninam
Mahamuninam
bhakti
Bhakti
jnana
Bhakti
vairagya lakshanam.
पारमहंस्य धर्मम् उपशिक्षमाणः
परमहंस्य धर्मम्
उपशिक्षमाणः
उपशिक्षमाणः
स्वतनयः शतज्येष्ठम्
स्वातनया सताज्येष्ठम्
शतज्येष्ठम्
परमभागवतम् भगवज्जनपरायणम्
परमभागवतम्
भगवज्जनपरायणम्
भगवज्जनपरायणम्
भरतम् धरणीपालनायाभिषिच्य
भरतं धरणीपालनाय अभिषिच्य
स्वयं भवन एवोर्वरितः शरीरमात्रपरिग्रह
स्वयं भवने एव
वरिता शरीरमात्रा
शरीरमात्रपरिग्रह
परिग्रह
उन्मत्त इव गगनपरिधानः
उन्मत्त एव गगनापरिधनः
परिधानः
प्रकीर्णकेश आत्मन्यारोपिता हवनीयो
प्रकीर्णकेश आत्मनि अरोपितः
ब्रह्मावर्तात् प्रवव्राज
ब्रह्मा भरतात् प्रव्रज.
Would like to give it a try, or we can move on to that.
Move on.
Actually, Prabhuji, move on.
May I try, please?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Evam anushasya atmagyan swayam anushthitataan.
Evam anushasatmadam swayam anushistan.
Api lok anushasanartham mahanubhavah.
Api lokanushasanaर्थं महानुभावः
Param suhrit bhagavan rishabhodesha.
परमश्रुत भगवान्
भगवान्
ऋषभदेश
ऋषभदेश
Upasham Sheelanam Uparat Karmanam.
उपशमशीलानाम् उपरतकर्मणाम्
Mahamuninam Bhakti Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam.
महामुनीनाम् भक्तिज्ञानवैराग्यलक्षणम्
Parhansasya Dharmam Upashikshamaanaha.
पारमहंसधर्मम् उपशिक्षमाणः
Svatanaya Shatjeshtham Param Bhagavatam.
स्वातनय सताज्येष्ठं परमभागवतम्
Bhagavajjan Parayanam Bharatam Dharani Palanaya.
भगवतजन परायणं
धरणीपालनाय
Abhishitya Swayam Bhavaneva Urvarit.
अभिशिष्य स्वयं
स्वयं भवने एव
Urvarit. Sharira Matra Parigraha. Unmatta eva Gagan Paridhanaha.
शरीरमात्र
शरीरमात्रपरिग्रह
परिग्रह
उन्मत्त इव
गगनपरिधानः
Prakirnakesh Atmanyaropita.
प्रकीर्णकेशात्मन्यारोपिता
Ahvaniya Brahmavartat Prabhavraja.
आवनीयो ब्रह्मवर्ता परिव्राज
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. So, yeah, word to word meanings. Sri Sukhovacha.
Sri Shuka
Sri Sukadeva Goswami said,
Sri Shukadev Goswami said,
Evam,
एवं
in this way,
in this
in
way
this way,
Anusasya,
अनुशास्य
after instructing,
after
after instructing
Atmajan,
Atmajan,
his sons,
his
his
sons
sons,
Swayam,
स्वयं
personally,
personally,
Anushishthan,
Anushishthvan,
highly educated in culture,
highly educated in culture,
Api,
Api,
although,
although
Loka Anushasanardham,
Lok Anushasanartham,
just to instruct the people,
just to instruct the people,
Maha Anubhavaha,
Maha Anubhavaha,
Anubhavaha,
the great personality,
the
the
great
great personality,
personality,
Paramashrut,
Paramadrit,
everyone's sublime well-wisher,
everyone's
Sublime well-wisher.
supreme worship,
Bhagavan,
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 the supreme personality of Godhead,
the
the
supreme
supreme
personality of
personality
Godhead.
of Godhead,
Rishabha Apadeshaha,
Rishabha Apadeshaha,
who
Upadeshaha,
is celebrated and known as Rishabhadeva,
fully
who is
celebrated and
celebrated
known
and
as
known as
Rishabhadeva.
Rishabhadeva,
Upashabha Siilanam,
Upashabha
Upasama
Sheelanam,
Silanam,
of persons who have no desire for material enjoyment.
of
of
persons
persons who have
who
no
who have no
desire of
desire for
material
material
enjoyment.
enjoyment,
Uparata Karmananam,
Uparata
Uparata
Karmananam,
Karmanam,
who are no longer interested in fruitive activities.
who are
who
no
are
longer
no
interested
longer
in
interested
fruitive
in fruitive
activities.
activities,
Mahamuninam,
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 who are sannyasis.
who are
who are
sannyasis.
sannyasi,
Bhakti,
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 devotional service.
devotional
devotional
service.
service,
Gnana,
Jnana,
Jnana,
perfect knowledge.
perfect
perfect
knowledge.
knowledge,
Vairagya,
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 detachment.
detachment.
detachment,
Lakshanam,
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 characterized by.
characterized by.
characterized by
Paramahamsya,
Paramahansya,
Paramahansa,
of the best of human beings.
of the
of the
best
best
of
of the human beings.
Dharmam,
Dharmam,
the duties.
the duties.
Upasikshamanaha,
Upashikshananaha,
instructing.
Shamana, instructing,
Swatanaya,
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 of his sons.
of
of
his
his
sons.
son,
Shata,
Shata,
100.
100.
Jeshtam,
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 the eldest.
the
the
eldest.
eldest,
Parama Bhagavatam,
Param Bhagavatam,
a
Bhagavatam,
topmost devotee of the Lord.
a
the
topmost
most
devotee of the Lord.
Bhagavad-jana Parayanam,
Bhagavad Jan
Bhagavad
Parayanam,
a
Parayanam,
follower of the devotees of the Lord, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas.
the
a
follower of the
devotees
devotees
of
of
the
the
Lord,
Lord,
Brahmanas
Brahmanas
and
and
Vaishnavas,
Vaishnavas.
Bharatam,
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 Bharat Maharaja,
Bharat
Bharat
Maharaj,
Maharaj,
Dharani Palanaya,
Dharini
Dharani
Palanaya,
Palanaya,
with a view to ruling the world.
with a
with a
view to
view
ruling the
to
world.
ruling the world,
Abhisishya,
Abhishishya,
Abhisithya,
placing on the throne.
placing on the
on the
throne.
Swayam,
Swayam,
personally.
personally,
personally.
Bhavane,
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 at home.
at
at
home.
home,
Eva,
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 although.
although.
although,
Urvarita,
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 remaining.
remaining.
remaining,
Sharira Matra,
Sharira Matra,
Shri Matra,
the body only.
the
the
body
body
only.
only,
Parigraha,
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 accepting.
accepting.
accepting,
Unmattaha,
Unmattaha,
Unmataha,
a madman.
a
a
madman.
madman,
Iva,
Eva,
Eva,
exactly like.
exactly like.
exactly like
Gagana,
Gagana,
Paridhanaha,
Gagana Paridhana,
Paridhana,
taking the sky as his dress.
taking the
taking the
sky
sky
as his
as his
dress.
dress,
Prakirna Keshaha,
Prakirna
Prakirna
Keshaha,
Keshaha,
having scattered hair.
having
having
scattered
scattered
hair.
hair,
Atmani,
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 in himself.
in
in
himself.
himself,
Aropita,
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 keeping.
keeping.
keeping,
Ahavaniyaha,
Ahavaniya,
Ahavaniyaha,
Ahavaniyaha, the Vedic fire.
the
the
Vedic
Vedic
fire.
fire,
Brahmavartat,
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 from the place known as Brahmavarta.
from
from
the
the
place
place
known
known
as
as
Brahmavarta.
Brahmavarta,
Prabhavraja
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
began to travel all over the world.
began to
began to
travel
travel
all over the
all over the
world.
world.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Sukadeva Goswami said,
Sukadeva Goswami said
"Thus the great well-wisher of everyone,
that
That's
the
the
great
great
well-wisher
well-wisher
of
of
everyone,
everyone,
the Supreme Lord Rishabhadeva,
The Supreme Lord
Lord
Rishabhdev
Rishabhdeva
instructed his son, his own sons.
instructed his own
his own
sons.
sons.
Although they were perfectly educated and cultured,
Although they
Although
were
they were
perfectly educated and cultured,
he instructed them just to set an example of
he
he
instructed them
instructed
just
them
to set
just
an
to set an
example of
example of
how a father should instruct his sons before retiring from family life.
how a
how a
father should
father
instruct
should
his
instruct
sons
his son
before
before
retiring
retiring
from
from
family
family
life.
life.
Sannyasis,
Sannyasis,
Sannyasis
who are no longer bound by fruitive activity
who are
who
no
are no
longer
longer
bound by
by
fruitive
fruitive
activities
activities
and who have taken to devotional service,
and
and
who
who
have
have
taken to
taken to
devotional
devotional
service,
service,
after all their material desires have been vanquished,
after
after
all the
all their
material
material
desires
desires
have
have
been
been
vanquished,
vanquished,
also learn by these instructions.
also
also
learn by
learn
these
by these
instructions.
instructions.
Lord Rishabhadeva instructed his 100 sons,
Lord
Lord
Rishabhdev
Rishabhdeva
instructed his
instructed
100
his own
sons,
100 sons.
of whom the eldest Bharata
of
of
whom the
whom the eldest
eldest Bharata
Bharata
was a very advanced devotee
was
was
a
a
very
very
advanced
advanced
devotee
and a follower of Vaishnavas.
and a
and a
follower of
follower of
Vaishnavas.
Vaishnavas.
In order to rule the whole world,
In
In
order to
order
rule
to
the
rule
whole
the whole
world,
world,
the Lord enthroned his eldest son on the royal seat.
the
The
Lord
the Lord
enthroned his
enthroned his
eldest son
eldest son
on the
on the
royal
royal
seat.
seat.
Thereafter,
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 although still at home,
although
although
still at
still at
home,
home,
Lord Rishabhadeva lived like a madman,
Lord
Lord
Rishabhdev lived
Rishabhdeva
like a
lived like a
madman,
madman,
naked and with disheveled hair.
naked
naked
and with
and with
disheveled
disheveled
hair.
hair.
Then the Lord took the sacrificial fire within himself
Then the
Then the
Lord
Lord
took the
took the
sacrificial
sacrificial
fire
fire
within
within
himself,
himself,
and he left Brahmavarta to tour the whole world.
and he
and
left
he left
Brahmavarta
Brahmavrata to tour
to
the
tour
whole
the
world.
whole world.
Oh, but actually, the instructions given to Lord Rishabhadeva's son were not exactly meant for his sons because they were already educated and highly advanced in knowledge. Rather, these instructions were meant for sannyasis who intend to become advanced devotees. Sannyasis must abide by Lord Rishabhadeva's instructions while on the path of devotional service. Lord Rishabhadeva retired from family life and lived like a naked madman even while still with his family. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sacha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गुरुं यत्कृपः तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरम्. Hare Krishna. Thank you all joining for this morning Srimad-Bhāgavatam session. As always, I would like to seek your causeless blessings so that I may be able to speak this verse and purport with appropriate mindset. with today's verse, if we realize, it concludes Rishabhadeva's instructions, right? So before we delve into today's verse a bit deeper, I thought let's do a quick recap, because sometimes a recap is necessary in life, isn't it? And actually, this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya itself is a wonderful reminder every day. Every day we come back to the Bhagavatam and remind ourselves, right? The real purpose of my life. So let's do a quick recap of what we have been hearing from Lord Rishabhadev over the past 2 to 3 weeks. So what was Rishabhadeva's fundamental point about human life? Human life is not meant for working hard day and night simply for sense gratification. If sense gratification becomes the goal of life, what happens? We become almost mad after material life, right? More plans, more work, more money, more enjoyment. And in that pursuit, we can even get involved in sinful activities. And Rishabhadev gives us a very strong warning here. If we don't inquire about the spiritual purpose of life, then despite having this valuable human form, we are simply being defeated by ignorance. We may be highly educated, we may be having great degrees, we may have very intelligence in so many areas. But if we don't understand the sense gratification is not the real goal of life, then spiritually speaking, we are still going in the wrong direction. So what is the solution he has given? Association. Association with highly advanced spiritual personalities. Rishabhadev tells us to accept the guidance of elevated Paramahamsas, a spiritually advanced spiritual master. And he makes a very powerful point. A person should not become a father, mother, or a husband if he cannot help those under his guidance, under his care, move towards freedom, move towards freedom from the cycle of birth and death. They are not supposed to become father, mother, or husband or wife. So what is the real responsibility of someone who takes care of others? Of course, we ask, have you eaten? Did you get a good education? Do you have a good job? Are you financially comfortable? Right? All these things are important, but there is something much higher. Can I help this person move towards Krishna? Then Rishabhadev tells his sons, don't become materialistic and envious. Don't envy any living entity, whether moving or non-moving. Why? Because the materialistic persons have forgotten their real self-interest. His whole life becomes, if I only get this, if I only achieve this, and slowly life becomes completely surrendered around these desires. But Rishabhdev reminds us the real purpose of our senses is not simply to enjoy. Our mind, eyes, words, and all our senses are meant to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Yesterday, Her Grace Jamuna Mataji so beautifully explained about it, right? Then Rishabhdev further says that the process of devotional service is within his heart. So, if we are genuinely serious about going back home, back to Godhead, what should become the chief aim of our life? The mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, if we put everything together, what has Rishabhdev has been teaching us? Don't waste human life in sense gratification. Inquire about the real purpose of life. Seek the association and guidance of advanced devotees. Don't become envious. Don't simply live for material enjoyment. Engage all our senses in Krishna's service. And ultimately, make the mercy of Krishna the greatest goal of life. Oof, oh Krishna, right? Imagine we start telling all this to someone, they might say, बस प्रभु जी, आज का क्लास बहुत हो गया. That's it, right? And this is my last Bhakti Vriksha class. Isn't it hard? But actually, when we hear all these instructions together, we can appreciate how deep and demanding they really are. It is one thing to hear them, another thing to take them to the heart, and another thing altogether to live according to them. And then imagine not only trying to follow them ourselves, but also trying to help others. It just feels insurmountable, right? Impossible. So let us not try to solve everything at once. Let us see how this unfolds through the rest of the today's class. Perhaps Rishabhdeva's own example will give us some very practical answers to these questions. Because today's verse is actually very significant. Why? It's a turning point. It's a twist, right? Every one of us like us turning points, right? We are coming to a major turning point in the life of Lord Rishabhdev. Until now, he has been giving all these instructions, but now he is going to demonstrate those instructions through his own life. The verse says that he took the sacrificial fire within himself, Atmahuti. In other words, we are now seeing Rishabhdev moving towards complete renunciation. Perhaps the Lord is teaching all of us how spiritual life gradually develops. Responsibility, detachment, and complete dedication to Krishna. And I think that brings us to a very important point in today's verse. The verse says that Rishabhdev enthroned his eldest son, Bharata, and gave him the responsibility of ruling the whole world. Now, if this was happening today, what everyone would be interested in? Who won the election? Who became the president of our prime minister, right? And that's what we normally focus on. So when we hear Bharata was enthroned as the ruler of the whole world, we might immediately think, wow, Bharata became the king. What a position. But is this really the main point of this verse? At least from my understanding, I don't think so. The more significant point is what Rishabhdev does after establishing Bharata as the king. First, he properly establishes Bharata in his responsibility, and then he walks away from everything. That is the striking part, right? The hero walks away from everything. He didn't walk away so casually or in an ordinary way. He walked away naked. His behavior becomes so extraordinary that people actually begin to think this person must be mad. Let's think he has the whole world available to him. He has the power, position, prestige, family, and wonderful children. Not just one or two, 100 of them. He has everything. Of course, he is the Lord himself. And yet, he is prepared to let everything go. The kingdom, royal position, prestige, comfort, social identity, and everything. But then a natural question comes up. Why did he have to do it in such an extraordinary way? He could have done it differently, couldn't he? His own father, Maharaj Nabi, handed over the kingdom to Rishabhdev and then retired to Badrikashram. A very dignified way of renouncing. Handed over the responsibilities, went to a holy place, dedicated himself to a spiritual life. Simple. Throughout the Bhagavatam, we have seen so many great personalities. Privat Maharaj, Ambrish Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Pandavas, and so many others who renounced life in similar way as his father. But why Rishabhdev renunciation is something quite different? Why didn't he, Rishabhdev, do it in the similar manner? Why did he have to become naked? Why did he allow people to think he was mad? Why such an extreme demonstration? There must be a very deep reason behind it. Right? But remember, Lord Rishabhdev is not doing this for his own spiritual advancement, right? He is already the Supreme Lord. So if he is doing something so extraordinary, it must be for our own benefit. He is teaching something through his example. And perhaps one reason is that he knows us very well. He knows the people in the Kali Yuga are very smart. They like to imitate. If Krishna does like that, why wouldn't he be able to marry more than one woman? Lord Ram was a Kshatriya, so he would have eaten meat. Why wouldn't he be able to eat meat? He knows people in Kali Yuga would like to imitate. And he made it something extraordinary, leaving for all of us absolutely no room for us to imitate. He has done a great thing. He simply walked away like, if he had simply walked away like Maharaj Nabi, perhaps we would say, yes, very nice. Rishabhadev retired. He went to the forest. Wonderful. And then we would go back to our comfortable lives. But when he does something as so extraordinary, we are forced to stop and think, wait a minute. He is trying to teach us something. He is trying to show us something about my own attachments. What does he want me to understand about my responsibilities? Once I have fulfilled my responsibilities, am I in a position or preparing myself to be gradually become detached from the things that I have been calling mine? That is where Rishabhdev's life becomes very relevant to all of us. We may not be kings, we may not rule the whole world, but all of us have responsibilities. Family, children, work, services, etc. Right? All of these are part of our lives. And naturally, we become attached to them. And then we say, okay, now I have fulfilled all these responsibilities. No, now I have all these responsibilities. Let me fulfill them properly. And when I retire, I will give more time to Krishna. But then comes the $1 million question. How do we actually walk away from all these attachments when the retirement comes? How do we suddenly say, okay, I have spent 30, 40 years deeply involved in my family, my work, my children, my property, responsibilities. Let me completely dedicate myself to Krishna. Is that really easy? I don't know. We actually have a few devotees here who have gone through that transition, who have retired from their major family responsibilities and are now able to dedicate much more time to Krishna. So perhaps after the class, we should get the first-hand experience and we can learn from them, right? But what is the general understanding in society? When your body is young and strong, make money. Money is honey, right? Work hard, build career, build home, one after another, accumulate wealth. And then finally, when the body is no longer useful, okay, now use it for God. Usually it doesn't happen. You and I know it very well. And then perhaps we finally take out Bhagavad Gita, if at all we have a copy. And perhaps if we were fortunate enough to meet devotees like Madhavati Mataji or Sumati Mataji, I don't think they are here today, who actually put the Bhagavad Gita into our hands. But there is a fundamental problem with this approach. The problem is not that we are fulfilling the responsibilities. Rishabhdev is not saying that. The problem is, in what consciousness are we fulfilling those responsibilities? That is the real question. If throughout our entire life, I'm thinking, I'm the proprietor, this is my house and my family, and my entire emotional absorption is in these things, then what happens? 20, 30, 40 years pass, and suddenly we say, okay, now I'm old, I should detach myself. But how? Our entire consciousness has been trained into the opposite direction for decades. It is like someone who has spent 40 years practicing one thing and suddenly saying, now I want to become an expert at something completely different. Can we expect that transition to happen overnight? That is the difficulty, right? There is a beautiful story. You all probably know it. A businessman who spends his entire life working day and night for his family. He has 4 children. He works hard. He builds a business. He accumulates wealth. Everything he does it supposedly for my family, for my children, for their future. Right? And finally, the time comes when he is on the deathbed and all the family members are gathered around him. Everyone is there. He looks around. He suddenly asks, wait, if all of you are here, then who is looking after the business? That is the funny part. Even at the last moment, the body is saying, I'm dying, but the consciousness is saying, what is happening to my business? That is the power of absorption. This is not a funny story. There is a very serious principle behind it. Whatever we spend our life we attach to. That attachment doesn't magically disappear simply because we become old. In fact, at the time of death, our deepest attachments can become even more prominent. And we know from the Bhagavatam that consciousness at the time of death is extremely significant. So Rishabhdev is not telling us, ignore your family responsibilities now and become detached. No. He is teaching us something more subtle. Perform your responsibilities, but change the consciousness in which we perform them. Take care of your children, give them whatever material education has to offer. But also but also do something that helps them develop their relationship with Krishna. Take care of your home, but think, this facility has given to me by Krishna. How can I use it in his service? Serve your family, but don't make the family is the ultimate destination of your life. Because there is a difference between saying, I'm doing everything for my family and saying, I'm serving my family as part of my service to Krishna. Externally, the activity may look almost identical, but internally, the consciousness can be Completely different, right? One may be thinking here, Prabhuji, these are all beautiful slogans to hear. Maybe we can even write them on a wall. But actually doing it, that is completely a different story. Hare Baba, it's not easy. It's not as easy as it is said, isn't it? It is a hard struggle, right? Everywhere we go, in almost every forum, we hear, use everything for Krishna, use senses for Krishna, evacuating and non-evacuating. That was a great question yesterday, Shailendra Prabhu, right? Use your senses for Krishna, use your body for Krishna, mind for Krishna, use your words for Krishna. Beautiful instructions, right? But you know what we don't always think about? Or what we don't always talk about? How much it actually takes to live like that. They are all beautiful instructions for all of us to look upon. But what's the reality? What is happening on the ground level? Let's come down to the ground level and see what's happening. How much effort, how much adjustment, how much struggle. Because devotees are also living in this world, right? We have jobs, families, bills, responsibilities. And at the same time, we are trying to maintain our Krishna consciousness. Sometimes it can feel like we are running two races at the same time. One for the material goals and other for the spiritual goals. Trying to keep up with the material world while at the same time trying not to get carried away by it. And honestly, that can be tiring. I don't know where it's all taking all of us. That can be truly tiring. We are trying to progress spiritually, but we are also dealing with all the pressures of everyday life. And sometimes in that struggle, what happens? We develop frictions. We become frustrated. Sometimes we even develop grudges with fellow devotees, with fellow people. Why didn't he help? Why don't they listen to my opinion? Why don't they cooperate? And if you are a Grihastha devotee, forget it. Perhaps the challenge becomes even more interesting. If the husband's health cooperates, wife's doesn't. If the wife's health cooperates, the husband's doesn't. If the both of their health cooperates, the children's doesn't, right? So sometimes Grihastha life can feel like a tripod. What is it? A tripod. Do you all know what a tripod is? You might be thinking, tripod? That's even actually better, Prabhuji. At least one extra leg. Let me explain. Have you ever tried to adjust a tripod stand especially those microphone stands we use at the temple. We adjust one leg, then another. Then we realize the third one is not quite right. We adjust again. If one leg is not properly aligned with others, the whole tripod becomes unstable, right? It may stand for a little while. Excuse me. But eventually, it wobbles, right? Isn't it Grihastha life sometimes a little like that? There are three important legs in Grihastha life. First, family responsibilities, which we all know. Spouse, children, parents, family, husbands, household, and all the things that come with the package family life. Second, professional responsibilities, our work, career, livelihood, and financial responsibilities. And the third, devotional responsibilities. Whatever it may be, your devotional responsibilities, japa, bhakti vrikshas, temple services, association with devotees, hearing, chanting, and so on. Now the challenge is, how do we keep all three legs standing properly all the time? If one becomes too short, or one becomes completely neglected, the whole tripod becomes unstable. And in the attempt of keeping these three legs balanced, at times we may genuinely feel, where is the breathing space, right? If it was a physical face-to-face class, I would probably see a few devotees nodding their heads right now. That's exactly my life, right? So next time you see a tripod, whether at the temple, at a program, or someone adjusting a microphone stand, maybe we will remember, that's my life. Three legs: family life, professional life, devotional life. Constantly needs adjusting, constantly needs balancing, constantly trying to keep everything standing. And actually, this struggle is itself is not necessarily a bad thing. The struggle itself is not a bad thing. Because I remember His Grace Shyamananda Prabhu once saying something that really caught my attention. A devotee must go through struggle. I thought, what? A devotee must struggle? Manasyastrani indriyani prakritishtani karshati? Maybe not. You heard it right. A devotee must struggle. But what kind of struggle? That is where it becomes very interesting. Not necessarily the struggle of trying to satisfy unlimited material desires. It is the struggle of trying to serve Krishna. It is the struggle to keep Krishna at the center. The daily juggling, trying to maintain our family and professional responsibilities while also maintaining our spiritual life. Trying to find a quality time for japa, trying to attend the programs, trying to serve at the temple, trying to be there for the family, trying to keep our consciousness connected to Krishna. The struggle is actually far better than struggling for the material enjoyment. Because material life also involves tremendous struggle. Because, people struggle for money, struggle for position, struggle for recognition to maintain their particular standard of living. They struggle for what they call peace and comfort. And after all that struggle, what do they get? More things to worry about. At least when we struggle for Krishna, that struggle itself is taking us somewhere. Think about it driving a car. Is driving effortless? Not really. You have to stay alert, watch the road, watch the traffic, check the mirrors, maintain your speed, right? Beware of what's happening around you. It takes effort, tremendous effort. Why? To reach the destination safely, right? So similarly, in devotional life, we have to maintain, we have to remain alert. We have to make an endeavor. We have to keep ourselves moving. Because if there is no endeavor at all, what happens? We become comfortable. We settle into our comfort zone and slowly we start reclining in our reclining sofa, turning our air conditioning on, make ourselves comfortable and slowly fall into sleep. And then somebody has to come and say, Jeev Jago, wake up, wake up. Because slowly, without even realizing it, bhakti can take the back seat. So yes, some struggle is necessary to remain active in Krishna consciousness. Of course, not saying we should destroy our health or neglect our family responsibilities in the name of struggle for Krishna. No. What Prabhu has been emphasizing, there has to be intelligence and balance. And then someone may ask, okay, Prabhuji, how much struggle is required? What is the required dose? Well, one size doesn't fit all. For one person carrying a 5 or 10 kilo bag may be a real struggle. For another person carrying 50 kilos may be perfectly manageable. For one devotee, cooking the Saturday feast may be quietly comfortable. For another devotee, simply standing for a few minutes and serving a few plates of prasadam may be a genuine struggle. We are only talking about genuine situations, okay? So everyone's circumstances are different. Family situations are different. Work situations are different. Health and bodily capacities are different. Responsibilities are different. Even our mental and emotional capacities are different. So we shouldn't think looking at one devotee doing 10 different services and another devotee doing only one service and immediately conclude this person is doing so much and the other person is doing so little. We don't know the internal struggle. One devotee may be doing 10 services so comfortably and another may be doing one service with tremendous effort. Who is closer to Krishna? I don't know. Who knows? Krishna's calculations may be very different from ours, right? We count the quantity and Krishna says sincerity, surrender, and consciousness, right? Ultimately, what we are trying to achieve through this all endeavor, so-called struggle, detachment. We are trying for detachment. If I endeavor for Krishna, if I never endeavor for Krishna, if I remain completely comfortable, completely absorbed in my material responsibilities, then when the time comes to let go, how will I let go? If I haven't practiced surrender throughout my life, how can I expect surrender to suddenly appear at the end? And ultimately, it comes down to what Krishna says. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders to me, I reciprocate accordingly. He passed on the judgment. Krishna reciprocates according to our surrender. So we do not wait until old age to develop detachment. We develop the consciousness of detachment while performing our responsibilities. Today, now, in our present circumstances. Then, as the years pass, things naturally change. The children grow up. Responsibilities gradually reduce. Hopefully, our consciousness change. And if our consciousness has been connected to Krishna throughout the journey, something beautiful can happen. We can gradually reach a stage where we can say, I have little more time now. Let me give you a little more to Krishna. Maybe we cannot give 100% today, 100% today. Maybe that's okay. But can we give a little more? And as life changes, as our responsibilities gradually reduce, our devotion gradually can increase. So the actual formula is not responsibility first, Krishna later. It is responsibility with Krishna consciousness now. And then gradual detachment, increasing devotion, and then deeper absorption in Krishna. It's not something we force overnight. It is something we cultivate little by little, day by day, struggle by struggle, with Krishna at the center. And ultimately, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, perhaps one day, when everything else has to be left behind, our hearts will already know where to turn to Krishna. And that is perhaps the greatest success of this journey. That after a lifetime of learning to place Krishna at the center, we are finally be able to become fully absorbed in Krishna. I'm sorry I've gone over about 9 minutes. With that, I would like to stop here and open the forum and see if anyone has any suggestions or comments or would like to share their experience, who have passed through or who have transitioned from their main responsibilities and they're able to be absorbed in Krishna's thoughts 100%. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Sivapati Prabhu,
Prabhu.
Dandavana Prabhu. Thank you very much for your nice class. Just one thought that I had was how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was asked by the Brahmana, when he went on South India tour, he said, I want to give up everything and I want to come with you and become a sannyasi and travel with you. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, you stay where you are and you engage in Krishna consciousness in the place where you are. So whatever state we are in, we need to engage in Krishna consciousness then and there,
Yep.
not wait for something or not look for something. Because that is what Srila Prabhupada also taught us. If he would have waited that I would find the best opportunity when I have all the things available, when I have everything that is set, then I will go and do. Then Prabhupada would have never traveled out of India.
Correct.
So that is something that we need to think about, is what I can do in the way
In the
I
present
am
moment.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you, Prabhu.
No, yeah. Yes, he has taught us sthane sthita pratyutasthya. So wherever you are situated, focus on Krishna and then take it from there. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very
Hare
much for such a beautiful class. And you have explained so nicely this verse. What I gather from this verse is the two main things which in here. The first thing is that Lord is the proprietor of everything, and everything comes from Him. And number two is how to be an ideal king, as He appointed Bharat Maharaj to be a king. Now, in this translation, I think it is purport that the Lord carried the fire within Himself, sacrificial fire within Himself. I was reading the Sri Isha Upanishad in the text one, and Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport itself that what actually is, he is saying, just as fire distributes energy in the form of heat and light, Lord displays His energy in different ways. So here we can see that Lord is the ultimate controller and sustainer. And the verse, as we all know, the first verse, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatem Jagat Tena Tyakta Bunjita Ma Grida Krish Asvit. So the thing is that this is the important thing, that everything is in Lord. And when the sacrificial fire which we do, the Vedic tradition we do, but actually Lord Himself is a sacrificial fire, and ultimate thing is to devotional service to Him. And another thing I think in this verse is they're talking about sannyasis. So they go from one place to another place, leaving everything. So I think this verse is specifically, in the previous verses, they have said about Gristas and all that, Varnashrama and everything is there. But when the sannyasi is there, he is renounced and he is doing everything. And what good he does is to make everybody Krishna conscious. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nice class. And it gives another thing I remembered, you were talking about, the businessman and all that. The real, the actually thing happened in my life or our life early in Krishna conscious, that in Sydney there was a doctor. He was very rich. He was investing in the real estate, and this is a real thing. And when he was dying, I have mentioned this many times actually. When he was dying, he had only one son, and his family was there. His son was there, and he's dying. And he was saying there was a property, there was an auction there, and he was asking his son and looking everybody, oh, you are also here. Who is going to attend that auction? So this is a real thing which we have seen, because the family, they're a friend of mine, and they said this is what he was thinking of, the property auction and all that. And this is our nature. And if we are not Krishna conscious right from the beginning, and we are fortunate, Srila Prabhupada's, this ISKCON, that we are in this, and we always try to ask the devotees and the families around us. I always say to my Prabhu, if he's talking something, about politics and all that, I will just say, why you're talking about that? Suppose if you just, leave your body just now, so what are you going to come back over here? Don't think about all these things. I know we are attracted to this, what is happening in India, who is going to become a leader, politicians. We do that. But important thing is to remember that we, like in our state of life at this time, and we just say that we have to try to remember Krishna and have atmosphere around us that we do remember. And we ask the devotees, please, 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 just bless us that you are there to remind us of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for all your inputs.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you
Shara
for the
Prabhu.
class. Shalendra here. Now, if these shlokas are meant as instructions for us, and if Rishabdev literally behaved like a madman at the end, is it instructing us that all retired people should behave like madmen?
No,
And
so okay.
and
Yeah.
who are the advanced devotees or sannyasis? Do they behave like madmen at the end? That's the question.
Okay. So yeah, we as I mentioned in the discussion, we don't have to imitate. We don't have to imitate. So even Srila Prabhupada mentions many times, we have to follow the great authorities, great acharyas. Even if I wanted to be imitate in this situation, I won't be able to, right? I can't go naked and behave like a madman. So, so he left no room for anyone who would want to imitate. Yeah. But the reason he had done it that way could be, of course, I didn't find the explicit reasons, but the understanding is that so sometimes we have to take the message, we have to read the statements between the lines. So it may not be explicit given. So the understanding is that, like I said, Arundhati Mataji was also mentioning it. There was a devotee who smeared his own stool. Why would he do that? Can we do that? Can we apply all over our body, our own stool? No. But why would they do it? Why would he go naked? Why would he behave like a madman? Maybe he wanted to see, they have he is self-sacrificed within himself, as the purport mentioned, Atmahuti. That means he is beyond this bodily absorption. He is beyond this social dignity, social designations, prestige. He is beyond to all these identities and stuff like that. So that means he has given up everything. If you see a person like that who has given up everything, obviously we take a pause and start to think what made him to go that extreme. So what was the so obviously he is not asking us to behave in such a way as Madhav Prabhu mentioned a few minutes ago. Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not want us to go naked and behave like mad people. Yeah, so you stay wherever you are and focus on Krishna, keeps Krishna at the center of our lives, and dedicate as much as possible in your own home, in your own place, in your own responsibilities, in circumstances. So ultimately, the whole point of all doing this endeavor is yes, when we have little bit more time, little bit more time, as the things get matured. Yes, we would like to give 100%. If not 100%, we'd like to give more and more time in the absorption of Krishna. Reading maybe Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam completely, reading Chaitanya Charitamrita completely, hearing more attentively, chanting more attentively. So right now you would like to do it. Maybe the circumstances may cooperate one day but not other day. So yes, our whole objective is to go back to Godhead, right? And to keep Krishna at the final thought. So how do we go about that? So when we have strength, when we are healthy, when we are young, so focus on Krishna as well as with all your responsibilities. So this is like a lifetime training. Depends on how we look at it, from where we are looking at it. If we are looking at it from the time of eternity, it could be a flash of second. Or if we are looking at it from this life itself, yes, this is a lifetime of training, learning how to keep Krishna in the center throughout our life. Why? So when the time comes to keep the center, to keep Krishna at the center, to the core of our heart. So of course he is not asking to behave like madman, or of course you wouldn't see any sannyasis behaving in such a way. Yeah. So in general, as it is mentioned, it is for sannyasis, which means, and I think purport the Prabhupada elaborated it. Anyone would like to advance on their spiritual path, these instructions are important.
Hare Krishna,
And that's,
Prabhuji.
yeah,
May I please add something if you allow?
yeah,
Yeah. Rishabh Dev, he took off all his clothes and made sky his clothes or dresses. And he was very exalted. He was Lord himself. And it's not like that that people don't imitate him. There is a one whole religion named as Jainism, Shwetambar Jain, Digambar Jain. They actually followed Rishabdev, and from Rishabdev's example, they took him as the first Tirthankar, and then so many Tirthankars have come. And I happen to stay very close by to a Jain temple, and their Mahatmas keep coming, their sannyasis keep coming, and they don't wear anything. And their deity also, huge deity, he was Mahavir Swami, he doesn't wear anything. But that is a stage where the person has so exalted that he doesn't have even the bhan, like in Hindi I call it bhan, or the consciousness of his body, like Shukdev Goswami. He was so exalted. So these are extraordinary examples, and all the Jains, they aspire to become one like that, where they can rise above their body, but they don't follow their Tirthankars. They follow, meaning they don't follow in the way that they don't wear any kapra, any dresses. They do wear dresses, they do worship, but their aspiration is that one day before death, they should go to that level where they can rise above their body, above the feeling of dresses. Because you see, a common man, usually people in parties and pubs, people just first thing they look at is what you have worn. There was a famous story about Swami Vivekananda also. When they called Swami Vivekananda in Chicago for his facilitation, Swami Vivekananda spoke for 36 hours continuously. And when he was invited for facilitation, everybody, all the very high-fi people were called, they're invited, and Swami Vivekananda also entered. He was slightly late. So what happened was everybody was there already. And their eyes were all on Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda came in his orange robe or white robe. When he entered, everybody looked at him as if, like, what has he won? What is this Swamiji? This party is for him. This facilitation party is for him. So what Swamiji understood, he was he was very highly exalted. He understood. He took his, what you call it, dupatta type of thing, angocha, and he rolled it up and put it in the soup. And then he said, "See, you have called my, you have called my dress to have the food, so I am feeding it now." Isn't it? So the lesson is that a person is known by the consciousness he has. A Krishna conscious person should always wear tilak, but sometimes we are shy of people, what will they say us? And so many times we aspire to do that, but many times we don't do that because people might give us bad names. Even Mataji, the name Mataji, the address Mataji is so highly respectable, but people make fun of it. So many people don't call it. So these are just examples, and sorry if I've taken long time. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.
Yeah, yeah. There are, even I thought, and the Jain religion, they follow Vrishabhadev, but I couldn't find an authorized reference, but I think the general understanding, I think that's what they take Rishabhadev as their first most guru or something like that. Yeah, but
Yes, Guruji.
definitely, they have done it in sometimes it could be also reason they don't like to be approached by people. If you see, if you are wearing a nice saffron cloth and people come and approach you and ask for, please bless my child, please bless my child, please bless us, things like that. So one time also Prabhupada was asked by, we often hear, please bless my child. And Prabhupada said, if I bless, he will become like me. Do you still want to bless me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, opposite.
That is what Lord Buddha did.
Correct.
When Yashodhara came with her child and she asked him to bless the child, Yashodhara was his wife, so he just gave the bowl to him that you also start begging now.
So, yeah, maybe they wanted some private space where they can fully absorb themselves. Yeah. I hope that gave some insight to Shailendra Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Any other comments or questions?